Eita?
Shosho my brother.
Ukrend?
Hey, right.
Kumnani kwaselofuthazi?
Hey, back home, hey, Kalelana.
Kalela?
Yeah, hey.
So kumele sibuyele la futhi sometimes.
Yeah. Khumbula imvelaphi yakho.
Uthi suka.
Yeah.
You just concluded this season, your first season in the GDL. After conquering in the Ren Central LFA under 15. Was it Division 2, right?
Division 1.
Division 1.
Yeah.
Oh, you were unbeaten the entire season.
Yeah.
Hey, ufike steering in GDL.
Yeah. No. GDL, as much as I was coaching in the RCLFA, but I used to watch a lot of GDL games, Yeah, because obviously as a coach you have aspirations of coaching in those leagues. So you need to watch and see. But yeah. No, figure out GDL I was a bit scared, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
When they announced ukuthi ne division yam, yo. Sengicabanga ukuthi dlala back 5. Shifting league yonke. Yeah.
Before we get into how you played in the season, you had to prepare. Like you say, after you were appointed, you had to put together a team. You have to prepare for the season. Obviously at Wits, there are many junior teams. So there are under 14s, there's players there. You host trials as well. How did you go about composing a team, putting together a team that you believed that it can compete in the GDL?
Okay, yeah. So credit goes to Coach Katleo Moloi, who was my assistant this season. You know, because last season he coached under 15 GDL, and as much as it did not do well. But the core of the team, I think 6 or 7 of the players played in that 15 GDL. So I told myself, Guti, I'm going to build a team around those guys. And then credit goes to Coach Lisejo, coached the 14 RCLFA that won the league. So Umto came from Lisejo, TK, the striker, came from Lisejo, Loiso came from Lisejo. So already I had conversations with the coaches that were coaching in the under 14 and under 15 to know, okay, which players can we rely on, which players can implement my idea of football, you know. And then obviously by then when we hosted the external trials, I had already coached Shan Naidu, Christian Bernardi and Usian Tabo, but Sia couldn't make the squad, you know. So
those ones you came with them from
Saint Stithians. No, I came with them I coached them at Saint Stithians.
Oh, okay.
And then when I realized these are the certain type of technically able players, I decided to go, okay, these are the players I'm going to try to bring in. But they went through the process of external trials. But in my mind, I already knew that these are the players that I'd like to bring part of the squad. So putting together the squad was easy. It was just now getting them to believe that they can play the type of football that I was trying to implement. And I feel like 70% of the games I implemented the type of football that we wanted to play. So it was just about making them believe. Touch. You know, you can start the goal kick from the back and arrive and create chances from you believing in the way we'd like to implement what we do.
Before the season kicks off, how much time did you have with the team to prepare them for the season, and what did your preseason entail? And the other coaches, all you do preseason is just run. No. What were you doing in preseason?
No, we worked a lot on technical ability, because if you are trying to keep the ball in this league, you need players that can understand when and where to use the different technical scenarios. You know, execute how to trap with the lace, the starts, the when, you know. So we spend most of the time with the ball, with the size 3s, spent a lot of time doing passing drills, playing small-sided games most of the time. Because we can run all you like, but at the end of the day, you need to have the ball.
You are appointed, you put together your team. What is the mandate from the office? What is expected from you?
Funny enough, there was no mandate, honestly speaking. It was just, let's not go through what we've went through the past 2 seasons, because 2 seasons in a row we've fought relegation. Last season we survived with just 1 point. So this season was more about, I think it was just them testing us out, which, okay, if we change the coaches that have been coaching for 2-3 seasons there, what can the coaches bring? For instance, Coach Mido had his own team, who was not a head coach, in the past seasons. I had my own team. Coach Tepo had his own team. They gave Coach Lavas his own team. So all of us come from RCLFA. Yeah. Okay. So I think they didn't want to put pressure on us with mandate. But individually, there's a conversation I once had with Mkhekerezi football interviews, and he was asking me what my aspirations are. And I told him, you know what, if I'd get in the top 8, I'd have the biggest party on earth.
But like you said, that in the previous years, the team had not done well. Where did you get this confidence that when you just want the top 8? You are not talking about why did you target the top 8? What did you see perhaps in the preseason, or is it self-belief that you can't get there and just add numbers?
It begins from self-belief, my brother. I believe in myself a lot, and I'm surrounded by people who whisper very good messages to me, In all of my interviews, I'll always mention Coach Fiso. This season, the person that also contributed
Sorry to interrupt. Fiso, there are a lot of Coach Fisos.
Coach Fiso is at Sundowns.
Okay.
Yeah, he's supported me from day one. Also, Daniel Dupree's, the MSC Sports agent, he spoke to me a lot during preseason, and he told me that, man, he watched my season before, and he said to me, if I go in there with the belief that I can do this, then yeah. And then obviously, another thing came from, I watched a lot of GDL games, and I used to think to myself, I'm not gonna lie, I watched our under 15 last season. I said, if we can be brave with the type of talent we have on the field, we can do certain things, That's where all of it came in, So during preseason, we played Katora Saipa, we played Panorama. That said something to me after dominating both those games, I think. Okay, with Pano it was a bit difficult, but the message in the change room was, please go lose that game. So that when we go to play Pano, they come confident that that's the Vets that we beat 6-0, 6-0, So first half it was like 5-1. And the players came to me after time, they're like, Coach, we can't do this. We can't pretend. We don't want to score. We can't pretend. I was like, okay, if you want to chase the game, chase the game. The game ended 7-7. So that on its own said to me, you know what, I have players that are not intending to lose, so I as a coach need to rub off the energy that I can do this. So if I believe I can do this, then my players will follow suit.
I'm sure Wits as an academy has a way that they want their teams to play, but also as a coach you've got your own way, your own view of how football should be played. Now tell us about you, just you, not Wits, about you as a coach. How do you think football should be played? And if someone comes and watches a team that is coached by Themba, what are they likely going to see?
Firstly, you're going to see a goalkeeper that is brave on the ball. In moments where you can start the ball, you start the ball. So that's the first thing. You, as a goalkeeper in my team, the first thing you do is count the amount of people that are in the first phase of the press. So if a team, for instance, commits 3 guys, and then we create a back 4, it's 5v3. So in that phase, we can start something that can push midfielders to jump out and create gaps for us to play. So I'm not a person that will say football should be played like this, because football is played in different ways. But if you watch a team coached by Coach Themba, any day, the goal kick will start from the back, unless they've pushed numbers, which means now we are doing requirement-based football actions. If they put 7 numbers in the first phase, obviously you just loop over the first line and then play from the second ball. But most of the time, you will never watch a Coach Themba coach team and not see 10 to 15 touches. I don't care against who, and it's a humble brag. I'm not saying I'm arrogant in the way I play, but in every team that I've coached, people know that we'll play football.
And now that means the players must be able to do that, or as a coach, you must be able to take them to a level where they can confidently pass the ball around, move it through the thirds, and get 2 goals and create chances. how much work you had to put in, because players are not the same. You might bring in a player because they have certain, you saw something, but they are not at the level that you want. How much work went into getting the players, to improve and be confident, because what you are talking about requires a lot of confidence on the ball.
It was a lot. I'm not gonna lie, my brother. There's moments where I felt like the 3 training sessions a week is not enough, because I think I only had 3 weeks of preseason. That's 9 sessions. That's 9 sessions. So obviously in the first 3 to 4 games, things were gonna be a bit difficult. Especially because in the first 3 games, we played Joburg City, we played Randburg, we played Sundowns. And then after Sundowns came SuperSport. And funny enough, after the Sundowns game, I overheard someone say to me, I think this under-15 team is just playing for passes. They are counting the amount of passes. And I said to my team after the game, I said, you know what, we played 2-2 at Joburg City, and that's then when they started believing. We played a 2-0 loss to Randburg, but the Randburg coaches came to me after game and they said, you know what, this team is going to be in top 5 immediately, from what they saw, from the things and scenarios we created with the movements and the understanding of play. And then when we played Sundowns, there were moments where you could tell that players fear the badge more than the actual players, So with Sundowns, we tried to defend the space behind, and it was too much space to defend. So the gaps between the keeper and the last line of defense was too much. But when we had the ball, because that's what I told them, I'm like, these players are good. These are top players, I'm not gonna lie. But top players don't like marking. So if we can try to create enough triangles on the field to force them to mark, to have 5 to 6 to 7 passes, it's going to frustrate them. And then we'll create scenarios for players that are on the wings. For instance, Scooter had a lot of 1v1s against Sundowns that he didn't win. But to me, it said to me, if we can go against the top team in the league, toe to toe like this, and lose with integrity, then by the time the second half of the season comes, this under-15 team is going to be a very top team.
Remind me, which game came first? Was it a SuperSport game or the Sundowns game?
Sundowns.
It was Sundowns first. Then after that it was SuperSport. So when you played SuperSport, before you played them, I was there. I think they were playing against Chiefs, and you were there with your notebook.
Yeah.
And the next thing you hit them 3-0.
You know what, Nem? I think that's where even me, I went home, because it was at Megawatt Park. I went home that day and I said to myself, you know what? If there's teams that I'm going to compete with in this league, it's going to be Sundowns, Chiefs, and SuperSport. And I don't mean disrespect to other teams, but I saw the level. I saw Chiefs and I said to myself, I'm not going to lose to Chiefs. I saw SuperSport and then I said, with the amount of their physical profile was not the top, and the 2 fullbacks were not good with 1v1 situations. So they needed a lot of centre back cover. So I told my players, I remember we had our first video session, small laptop in the room at Wits. The first thing I addressed was the wingers not arriving in the right spaces when we mark, and from then I saw players that could see, because at the end of the day, when we coach and don't show them these things, they need pictures to see what we are trying to explain to them. So when I sat down with the wingers, I'm like, goal 1, goal 2, goal 3, we can avoid if you guys are in these zones. And then from there, that's how we dealt with SuperSport. We gave them the fullbacks. We gave them a lot of time on the ball. But where I realized that we were going to win this game, in our first goal kick, we played out from the back, and then we received in the wide zones. But instead of the winger coming deep to receive, it was our number 10, because I play with 2 10s. Our number 10 drifted out. Now the defensive midfielder didn't fall, and we went out and we progressed the ball and we created a chance. And I heard the captain say to the coach, if I follow that one, there's this one that's coming behind me. So what do I then do? And then I heard the coach not answer. And then I said to myself, you know what? There's something that's going to happen with this team. If they fully grasp what I'm trying to build with them, then there's a lot of teams that are going to struggle.
How important was that win, 3-0 win against SuperSport, in terms of confidence for the players and the belief that what the coach is saying to us we can actually do it, and we can actually win games from playing that way?
You know, I heard the players discuss it in the change, because I'm really close to players I coach. You know, I believe that before and after game, we are more friends than me being a coach. So I heard the players discuss in the change room, but we can win the league. You know, and deep down I knew there's no way we win the league. You know, because of a lot of factors. But for them to say they can win the league, so it means them falling down means they fall into the top 8, which is silently what I was looking for. You know, so that SuperSport win said a lot. These players, the GDL players, go to school together. You know, so they were saying it to each other that no man, I think Wits is going to be a contender this season. I think Wits is going to be a top team this season. And the players started fully grasping the idea that, you know what, we can fully dominate games. And then from there, it was just a matter of now channeling the players that don't start games to be in the right mindset, because at Wits we have the rule that everyone should play, you know, irregardless of how they train, because at the end of the day we are the one that trains these boys. And if we give people minutes that they didn't earn, we are sending the wrong message to the kids that are overtraining because of this. But I had to channel the bench. I had players like Tube on the bench. I had players like Christian, Muaz came in late. We had Loiso, we had Z, and all those players were for the idea, were for the team. You could, because there's a rule I have that every time it's halftime, go engage with the player that's playing your position. So they tell you the difficulties, they tell you what they are experiencing, and if you happen to come on, the opponent is dealing with this in that manner. So I think from then, it was a matter of chance. It was a united group. I don't know how people will feel about this, but in the entire GDL Wits team, I think under 15 was the most united team in terms of the players.
And how did you achieve that? Because, you know, these are small boys. They just want to play football. And then with the GDL being on TV, they want their families, their friends to see them playing on TV. So they always want to play. And at times there's always pressure from parents who believe that their kids, Messi, Ronaldo, they should always play. How did you manage that, the parents, the players' expectations, and ensure that, you know, the unity that you speak of was achieved?
Well, there are moments where I think I could have done better, because there was a little thing that happened externally, but it only affected us in the second leg of the SuperSport game, and then from there we were over it. But what worked for me the most is that I was closer to the guys that didn't play more than I am to the guys that play more. Because now, if I'm close to the guys that start a lot of games, it feels like I'm neglecting those ones. But if I'm closer to the guys that are on the bench, the Simpiwes, the Tubes, you know, Tube has been top. I think only has 2 starts and 8 appearances, but he was the team captain. Because when I spoke to him, I was like, you'll be the captain, but you need to manage the dressing room for me, because there are moments where I'm not in the dressing room with you guys. So if there are players that are saying, Mara coach, be the first one to say, but can you see what he's doing in your position? Can we try to work a bit harder? So that's what I think I did good in terms of them. I was really friends with the guys that were off the bench, and I'm a very social coach, you know. Yeah. So I spoke a lot with the parents. I engaged a lot with the parents. I remember one of the parents came to me during preseason and said, I regret taking my child out from a specific team to bring them to you, because my child can't be coached by a kid, you know. And that same parent, 5 games into the league, is saying, can the whole of Wits play like this? Can the whole? And I appreciate him, because he was open enough to say, you know what, coach, I was wrong about you. I was the first one to say, this boy can't do it. This is GDL, man. Why are we giving small boys a chance? So I was close to parents. I engaged a lot with the parents. I had a very close relationship with the parents, I'm not going to lie.
And how important is that, you know, Because as a coach, at times we just think you must train the players, go to the game and win. But there's a lot of other aspects outside that, making sure that you have a good relationship with the players. And like you did at that time, you have to go out, analyze the opposition. So there are other aspects besides what you do at training and, during the game. How important is managing that, and how has it for you? How have you developed as a coach on those aspects?
I think it's, at the end of the day, the parents bring them to training. So, and the parents take them back home. So you need someone that's going to repeat the same message that you are repeating to the kids off the field. So if you are saying to the parent, Njabulu is struggling there and there and there and there. Now Baba Njabulu is going to say, Mara, Njabulu, you're not taking enough people on. You are not creating enough opportunities. And then it's with other aspects of coaching, it's about desire, man. I've, like we said, I come from here. I coached with the minimum resources. I remember one time I was using beer bottles as markers. I used to create mannequins using boxes and mop sticks. So that on its own could say that I have an idea of how I'd like to run a training session. As much as I had guidance from a lot of people, especially Coach Fiso. I had guidance from those people that said, okay, my boy, you can't do this and this and that. For instance, he was the first one to say, at training, man, there mustn't be a long line during passing drills, And then those are things I pick up, and then I'm like, okay. So I go and I engage with a lot of people, and then I ask, training session. For instance, when TS Galaxy first team was doing their preseason, it was just after our first leg of the league. I was there almost every morning, watching the training session, watching how they deal with different players, how in that segment, the strikers segment, this is what's happening, the coach is closer to. So the desire to get there, to learn, that fire in you can never burn out.
You just reminded me, I think, I can't remember the year, but I think it's around the same year that I get to know you. We used to meet at games, and one of the games that we went to was Pirates when they're still playing in the Hollywood Regional League against Black Poison. And you were very interested to see how Coach Simon sets up his team, and how Black Poison, obviously with the influence of Rula, and how they set up their team. Would you say such, obviously shows that desire that you have, but are there things that you picked up from those games? Because I remember you at halftime you'll tell me how they set up, and I'm thinking, hey, this guy is analyzing this team seriously. How has that helped you in your coaching chains?
You can't, we always say you can't coach passion to players, but even with us as coaches, you don't just wake up and have passion. It starts with the amount of games you watch at home. It starts with the amount of conversation you have with the people that are doing the things that you believe you can be doing. So me being exposed to people like Coach Simon, it helped a lot, because at the end of the day, when Pirates were training at Max Park, I would meet these people in the parking lot, and I'd ask them the questions. But okay, coach, I see this one and this one is doing well. What are you doing good? For instance, the one thing I learned from Coach Simon was that we must not try to train the players, all of the players, like we want all of them to be pros. There's that 2-3 players that you see that these ones want to be pros. These ones need extra details. These ones need extra effort. And then there's kids that are playing for fun. So you can't take away that element from them, but don't then train them the same way, or don't engage with them on football levels the same way. So if you're watching a game at home, there's a kid you will text and say, are you seeing this? But there's some way you'll say, are you seeing this? It's like, no, coach, I'm not watching. So you can't be pissed at that one, but at the same time, you can't leave that one because now the desires are not the same. So I've been influenced a lot. I watched a lot of ABC, Municipal League games last season. I followed Wits a lot, and there's luckily, Coach Tadro allowed me into the change room. So there's things I picked up in the change room. That's how I actually learned how to do video analysis of opponents. That's how I engaged with my under-15s. That, what, I'll cut these 2, 3, 4 clips and show you how these ones do these things. So like I said, man, for instance, with Coach Musa, you'll speak with Coach Musa the whole day about football. He will tell you everything. So I absorbed from Coach Musa. I absorbed from Coach Seth Muloi, who was our head coach when the season began. And he then showed me the importance of, there's this thing he created. It's like a Google link where you go and you fill in all these things like a match report. And then every time I filled it in after the game, I realized, okay, most of our goals come from the white zones. Most of the goals I concede are in the 65 to 75 minutes. So those are the phases that I then need to up my game a bit so that I help the team a lot, you know. But yeah.
Let's go back to the season now. 34 games played, 16 wins, 6 draws, 12 losses, and you finished 5th. In your first season, number 5. On top of you is the big boys, Chiefs, Sundowns, SuperSport, School of Excellence. What is your assessment of the entire season and how you guys, played?
So, you won't believe when I say at the end of the season, when the final whistle went, the boys were devastated with finishing 5th because they felt like there's games we should have won. We should have won Jomo at home, but I wasn't there for that game. But from what I heard, it finished 4-3. And then when I watched the game, it was build-up mistakes. Us forcing that pass into the deep lying 6 instead of playing the 8 so that he can bounce the ball for the third man run. But we should have won. We should have beat Randburg. We should have won Tuks away. We should have won Chiefs away. That one. We should have won Sundowns away. That one. But those are the games where we got a point. We got 0 points. But the boys came back saying that team shouldn't have beat us. Sundowns equalized last minute. Chiefs equalized 20 minutes to go, but we had enough chances to win the game even when that had happened, But yeah, so I personally it was a top season for me. But even me, when I went home, I wasn't happy with that. We were pushing for top 3. I'm not gonna lie, but that was derailed by a lot of external things that happened at training, in the office, during the meetings, and then you realize, maybe I'm too focused on being in the top 3, and I should be more focused on helping that one, which is something I've tried to improve about myself. If it happens that I have a GDL job next season, that's something I'll try to work on. But okay, let's try to balance. But at the end of the day, I want to win. I want to win. When I lose, my brother, I wish we can play the next day. Because I can't survive that week. Trust me. I don't engage with people. I watch that game over and over again. I have people that watched our games religiously that said to me, but Themba, are they child us there? Yeah. But I think it was a good season. I did 3 sports better than what my initial plan was when I started. But when I ended, I wasn't happy. I wanted top 3.
Would you say this season was one of those seasons that you were able to say, okay, my focus perhaps was too much winning, perhaps I could have done better to find the balance, because with development there's always that we are developing, but at the same time you want to win. Would you say that throughout the season you got caught up in winning and perhaps thought you could have done better with just focusing on developing everyone rather than chasing the result?
Not really, because this is one of the underrated things about my season. Look at the players that I was using. Look at when they began, look at when they ended. So at the end of the day, development took place. And with, I think, 90% of the players came out of the season with a clear understanding of where they are and where they were, and they felt like, I remember even parents saying on the parents group, can this season start over again? But now they start with where they are now, so they can improve a bit further. Guys, Lihle was not playing enough last season. Zakes was playing right back last season. Junior didn't have enough minutes. Jaden was in the champs. Mto, Z, Loiso. They were in RCLFA. Kanyo wasn't top in terms of what I believe a modern centre back should be. Njabulo had an injury that took away his game, but the Njabulo that missed the penalty at Randburg in the first 2 games was a different Njabulo. There's an assist he made last game of the season. Then Njabulo in the first 5 games doesn't make that pass. Scooter came in as a wide winger that just wants to stay in the wide zone, not mark, but he's improved off the ball. If Scooter doesn't do the work at School of Excellence First League, we don't win that game. But because he's the one that cost us at Joburg City in the first game, and I told him, if you track that left back, then it's not a 2v1 against Lihle. And then he started doing all those things. Muaz came in from a very difficult injury, came in. By the time he ended, people were asking me about Muaz behind the scenes. Shan came in as a player from Evo. Christian came in as a player from Evo. And people were questioning me like, why are you sending players from Evo? But in my mind, I thought to myself, I need to improve most of these players. There's a message I received from Simpio's father. Simpio didn't play a lot. But the moments he played in the first leg and the second leg, by the time he played second leg, they were calling him big chance player. Because every time he came on, he got a big chance. Because now he's starting to understand what he can do, who he can be. So instead of him wanting to be a winger like Scooter, he wants to be Simpiwe. He's doing amatolo, he's jumping on the ball. And I don't take away that element because I coached Mambas, I helped Skepe 2 games, I coached ADT. These are the players that do these things, Yeah. And then with Udo came in as a midfielder. I turned him into a left wing. Udo has 6 goals and I think 9 assists as a winger, and it caused a lot of teams problems. So in terms of universal development, there's a lot that happened. There's a lot of players that played in different positions that learned the game on a holistic aspect. So I improved a lot of players at Wits this season. Same way last season I improved players that were able to go to GDL. This season I improved players that were key players in under 17. Players that played, three of these boys played in under 19 games. So it says something, because first game of the season, no one is saying, I need that boy in under 17. I need that boy in under 19. But last game of the season, I think 8 of these boys played in divisions above. So that says something. But these are the small things that are unnoticed because we don't see these things until someone explains to you. But deep down, I know what I did for the boys. I know what the boys did for me.
Brazil, there's this belief that they say you can score against us, but we'll score more than you. So games end up maybe 5-4, 4-3. I look at your goal difference, it's 8. You scored 57, conceded 49. Was it the same approach that, or the focus was too much on scoring rather than being, managing the games and being defensive at times?
No, GDL is a top league. It's where one of the best players play, and most teams have attacking players. Look at my defense. It's only two players that played in GDL before. Everyone else was their first season, and we know this thing has nerves. I had nerves, So I think if they go again next season, then we concede less. But yeah, as a coach that focused more on what I'd like to do on the ball, I didn't really improve, but we improved the defense, because I remember getting a text from 2 or 3 of these people that watch us that said, you know what, defense are quick chawile this season, but this one has improved, that one has improved, that one has improved. But at the end of the day, these are players that were adapting to GDL.
Which team would you say was that most difficult to play against, and why?
Elspark. The only team,
but Elspark got relegated.
The only team to beat me home and away. Do you know why? Because they play chaos football. You can never prepare for chaos. I'm a coach that likes to prepare. I watch teams, I analyze. I think I watched Elspark 2 games. I'm like, I keep on falling asleep. I'm not seeing what they are trying to do, but they scored. So I think that was the most difficult game to play. The most liberating game I played was Sundowns first leg, you know. So, but Elspark is the only team that I felt like, yeah, they felt us coming. They know deep down that, you know what, those wins, yeah, we worked hard for. But for the fact that they took 6 points from me and they are the only team that took 6 points from me, it says something about their chaos.
And the coach that made you, you know, as a coach at times, their tactics, how they change them, makes you think, it challenges you to think more. Who would you say is the coach that did that to you?
It wasn't a coach. It was the team. Sundowns, when I analyzed Sundowns, especially going into the second leg, damn. I thought, I had said to myself, I'll never defend in a back five, you know. But with Sundowns, they forced me to move. So with Sundowns, our approach was, because the focus on the league was so much on Scooter, we overloaded the left-hand side, which shifted a lot of their players to come and play on their right-hand side and isolate the 1v1s, you know. But when Tando Gould had the ball, he'd play passes that were everything you had prepared for, and then he kills it with just one pass, you know. And I remember Coach Musa sitting on the bench next to me, saying to me before halftime, no, let's let that other centre back have the ball, you know. But when I think to myself, that other centre back is on Scooter's side, so I don't want Scooter to be trekking back all the way there. But when I had the conversation with the boy halftime, he said, Coach, if I need to do the job, I'll do the job, because I'm not playing much because they're focused on me. Let's go and win the game, and then if I didn't score, it's fine. At the end of the day, we did the job, you know. But Sundowns picked my brain a lot, and I feel like because it was a surprise, there was coaching the team. I feel like I also gave him a headache with...
Is that 2-2 game?
Yeah, the last minute equalizer from them. With Coach Mark Mayambela watching the game, and he came to me after the game. He was like, you know what, Coach, there was a top game. I'm glad it was not the first game. It was not my first game of the season. Yeah.
But there's another one where you got 5-1. What happened on that?
Ash, Coach. You know that game now? That game I had said to the players, I want to lose trying what we want to do. So let's not go there and try to defend, because then we are going away from what we are trying to implement. If we want to go toe to toe with these boys, let's try. And I know Malinga chowed us with that running space in behind, because now Jaden is caught between jumping into Neo in the half spaces and allowing Malinga to run behind, or tracking Malinga and then Neo receiving in those half spaces, then becomes a problem, you know. But it was the first 3 games of the season. If that game had came 7-8 games later, I believe it could have been a different result.
I look at your performance against, you know, the big boys, SuperSport, Chiefs, and Sundowns. None of them got 6 points from you. Was it because maybe the players, when they play those teams, they want to lift their performance, or you had a special plan to deal with those teams?
I felt like they struggled more with what we were doing on the ball. You know, off the ball, maybe we weren't as top, because the movements we make on the ball, when we lose it, now there's a lot of gaps in between. But I think the way we play caused different problems. For instance, in the first leg of the league, we played Scooter in the wide zone. The second leg of the league, he came into the half space and we had Lihle, our right back, going there. Because now coaches start saying, left back, follow Scooter. When you follow him, there's Lihle going. If you stay with Lihle, Scooter is receiving in the half spaces and is very dangerous. So we had problems that we posed to them, and as much as we can say the big boys, no one got just Elspark. So no one else came to me and took 6 points. Everyone knows how difficult it was to play me at home. It was only Chiefs and Sundowns that I think found it easy, but with the Chiefs game in the second leg, there's engine that derail our training schedule because we don't have access to the fields. And then after engine ends, in 2 days' time we are playing Chiefs. In 3 days' time we are playing Chiefs. So that one was a bit difficult to take because I felt we could have won the game away. So when I said they're coming to my home ground, I don't want anything at home. I don't like going home and allowing the parents to leave and say we lost, you know. So yeah.
A good season, you know, by all counts. First season in a GDL, you finish in the top 5. But as we speak now, you are no longer coach of Wits under 15. Were you surprised that you were let go after such a good season?
You know, I think I was not surprised, honestly, because I could feel it. I could feel, you know, as a coach, for instance, Rulani knew before he left Sundowns that, you know what, something is happening behind the scenes. And it's nothing bad. I just feel like I think they are preparing to take a new direction. They are preparing to do things in a different way. You know, I'm always open to Wits. I played for Wits as a youngster. I coached Wits in RCLFA. I coached Wits in GDL. I'll always be happy to coach at Wits. But if they then feel like they want to take a different route from what I did this season, I'll respectfully accept it. But I'm not gonna lie, when there were no well done from the people that matter, it hurt, you know, when it was more of, you know, when you can hear the people talk behind you that, you know what, yeah, but, you know, but no one's talking about
the good things.
We are number 10 as Wits as a whole. We are number 10. So where's the coach's Brian Yana to say that, you know? So those things say to you, instead of people focusing on the good, they will always pick out the bad. But there's nothing bad that happened between me and Wits. If they decide I'm what they'd like to continue with, I'll be open to it. But if there's no space for me anymore, if there's no team that is open to taking me, I'll continue with my licenses. My license starts on the 1st of December, and then we'll take it from there. But I'm not gonna lie, it was a very painful way to end the season with everything that was happening behind the scenes. And I'm thinking to myself, guys, the last 2 seasons you've been playing with calculators. When in the last 5 games of the season, you've never looked at a calculator and say, when we, But it happens. It's life, man. It's this coaching
part of football.
job. Yeah, it's the coaching job. It happens.
And by the way, here at Loftus, you're forever welcome, so there's no problem.
Do you know
this is your home.
Do you know what's funny? I found out through a status that, you know what, I think I might not longer be welcome here, because someone said one of these coaches is going back to coaching Kasi tournaments. And then when I think about it, I'm one of the few people that are coaching in Kasi tournaments. So we'll see. ADT is playing Pick and Pay on Saturday.
You there?
We'll go. We'll try. You know, my squad is playing Discovery. There's a tournament we are playing in Val. For now, I just want to enjoy football. Whatever happens, you know. But it hurts not to know where you are next season or what's going on, because I'm a person that likes to plan, you know. For instance, if I was to coach the GDL 15s again, I need to be looking at a goalkeeper instead of looking at a goalkeeper when the season's starting. I'm scrambling, because that's one of the things that affected my season this year. I started the season without a goalkeeper, so Ian had to play under 14 and then play under 15. When he engaged in a lot of 50-50s, I'd sit worried there. I'm like, I might not have a goalkeeper, you know. But Menzi came through for us, and Menzi was top. Menzi ended us that point at Sundowns. If we start the season with Mendy, we are talking a different thing.
My brother, thank you very much for your time. I think, you know, if you remember, I said to you, I'm not going to watch your first 5 games in the GDL. I want you to settle, and I'll come watch later. But from the things I was hearing, I think 5 games didn't come. I had to come and see myself for myself, because people were telling me things that Themba is doing things there. So yeah, you had a very good season, and hopefully something will come up for next year. I think coaches like yourself should be coaching in the GDL. I think this season alone has proven your quality as a coach, what you're capable of, and hopefully we'll see you in the GDL again next season.
No, my brother, thank you very much. We pray. I'm not gonna lie. I'd hate to see me, after the learning that happened this year, I'd hate to see me then not have a team. But if I don't have a team, I'm gonna watch a lot of GDL games. I'm gonna stay ready for whatever may come. Luckily, Coach Tando hired me at school this season at King's. St. Stephen's apparently wants me back. So I'll be in the football spaces. I'll watch a lot of games, and then I'll wait for people to contact you or contact me to say whether they'd like me to be part of their team or not. And then we'll also hear from Wits what they are saying.
My brother, once again, thank you very much.
Thank you, my brother.